gunshot wound, are you saying that you should actually virtually pull it through with a piece of gauze or something like that?
If you're isolated and on your own, and there's no prospect of medical treatment for the next 7 days, and you've got a gunshot wound under those conditions, and you're forced to go to ground and hide, then yes, if you can, you must get the junk out by any means possible. It doesn't matter what size the hole is, as long as there's oxygen circulating in the hole. Providing, of course, bleeding has stopped.
Pray God the bleeding in the Falklands will never start again. It was there that most of these young men first encountered the shocking reality of war.
And there's nobody around.
So too did Surgeon Commander Rick Jolly, who tended 750 wounded, mostly Royal Marines and Paras, without a single death. He lectures now to men pensive at the price that others paid.
This is a guy injured at Ajax Bay, and a piece of shrapnel has come up past his leg and taken away quite a lot of the flesh and skin. Some 5 days later, looking at this wound, it has an unusual appearance to it. It's sort of redder than real life, and that's because healing has begun. This is what they call granulation tissue. This is Mother Nature's attempts to heal, and he's doing extremely well indeed. It's a nice fresh wound, which the surgeon just scrapes up slightly, and then taking graft of skin from the other side of the other leg, begins to cover up the wound. And look how nice it's looking now. Another aspect, and it's an important one, which nobody ever thinks about in exercise, is burying your dead. Okay? How often, when we've been in a commando unit or in a company attack, you get up and you storm through the objective and it's ho-hum, one day to index. It's all been tactics and roll on the weekend and a few pints. Okay? It's different in war because you actually end up with the dead. Back at Ajax Bay, these are the dead from Goose Green. We stripped every one of those dead to make sure that we knew what they died of, because some of them were going to go back to England and the coroner would be involved. Heartbreaking task, if you like, to stand there in the freezing cold and strip bodies and take blood-stained things and put them in bags and sign for them, rings and fountain pens and photographs to send back to the relatives. But very important, because it also works out your own grief. Anyone who says that brave men don't cry, or it's not a feature of a man to cry at war, absolute nonsense. If you feel like crying, you do it, okay? Because otherwise you're going to bottle it up and it's going to be twisted. And here are the guys in this mass grave, which was very important to all us around, because we felt that this was a dignified and honourable burial, okay? And that we'd done the right thing for these brave men.
Much learned in the Falklands is used in the education of the mountain and Arctic warfare cadre, men training to fight behind the lines.
A year ago, the role was reversed to our secondary role, which became our prime role, and that was working as a brigade recce organisation. This, of course, meant that we would be working behind the enemy lines, up to 200, 300k behind enemy lines. This makes us more prone than any other troops in the Royal Marines to capture, including the SBS. So it's my aim over the next 40 minutes or so to give you an introduction into the art of escape and evasion.
Many of the postgraduate Houdini tactics taught here are top secret. Their significance is not.
The escape and evasion side, obviously you've got to be able to look after yourself. There's different, you've got to be able to keep clean, you've got to know the rules. Do keep clean, and it does, although people you probably saw on the survival thing will get hold of civilian clothes and things like that, well, that's exactly what you would have to do. Let's take, for instance, in the Falklands, because most of the people there, the local population, spoke English, and it would be very easy to pass yourself off as a farmer or anything like that, and actually wander up, or very close by, to the enemy positions, obviously without, and you just have to act completely dumb and try and get away with it. Obviously, you try and keep away and not do that. Because the thing is, then if you get caught in civilian clothes, then it's a different kettle of fish altogether. And all these set drills that they're given now, that gives them confidence for when they do go out on their own, that later on, if they ever do get in the situation for real, that they don't feel so alone. Because it does go through your mind quite a lot. What's going to happen to me if I do get caught?
Since not getting caught wins more marks than escaping, a huge premium in training is placed on acute observation. These men are engaged in an A-level version of Kim's game, identifying in this landscape 12 items that the average rambler would probably never notice. You can join in yourself, but it isn't easy, even with a zoom lens to point you in the right direction. One axe, common or garden. The Marines have got 11 more to go. For you, just one. One of those contraptions for pinning recalcitrant children to the roofs of cars. Life out here is full of surprises. Practically every piece of vegetation appears to be liable for income tax. These are snipers training for their lonely, dangerous job. For obvious reasons, their faces will not be seen.
A commander could use a sniper in a reconnaissance role, because they're highly trained in reconnaissance and various aspects of it on the internal security side, not only on conventional warfare like the type of country we're in now. It could be used in an urban sort of guerrilla situation.
The professionalism of these men can be blood-chilling.
If you want him to put down Harrison fire, he can deliberately aim to wound a man, so that it takes anything up to 5 to 10 men, depending on the terrain, to get him out. So effectively, by shooting one man, and if you know that the people you're shooting at are concerned about leaving wounded men around, then they'll take up to 10 men to get him out of a particular terrain. If you want him to kill somebody, for instance, if you want him to hit any high-ranking officers or commanders on the ground, the task has got to be so that the man warrants being shot in the head. So, you know, so to go in close for a headshot when you can actually shoot somebody at maybe 500 meters is a waste of a sniper if he happens to get caught out. So the task to go in and shoot somebody at close range of the head for a headshot would have to be somebody quite high-ranking.
This is a headshot from 200 meters. And this is the same exercise from 600 meters.
But if you look here, you can see the exit holes, all right, are quite big. So you can see that the 4 shots that he fired into the body, and the range he fired at was approximately 600 meters. So the first shot was on, and he was slightly left, and then his next shots he zeroed into the centre of the body, and you can see here the centre of the dummy's head, and that was his 4 shots were on, and we were quite happy with that.
I found in talking among some of you a very hardened attitude towards death, to the point of callousness. I'm not thinking about battle here now. I'm thinking about one shot I had where there was a colleague who had died, and it was seen without sentiment. Do you think you become hardened people?
Yes, probably. Yeah.
Does that disturb you?
No, I think it's an advantage.
It's a fact of life, I suppose, I think. And there's no... as you said, it's probably an advantage to be able to, you know, accept it and still carry on.
Could you accept that or have the same attitude about, say, a member of your family dying? Not necessarily very close, but a member of your family. Would you be more prepared for that than the rest of us?
Definitely. I mean, it's probably happened since I've been in the Corps. It's something that carries on from the people you work with. Probably the people you work with are as close as family anyway. When family die, it's not such a big deal as it used to be before you joined up.
And you think you've been hardened to that by your training?
Well, the training, but probably experiences as well. I mean, it's just becomes part of the job, and hopefully, you know, you can just carry on. And I mean, you know, every time if you came across a dead body, every time, and you broke down or went to pieces, you know, it wouldn't be too good really for, you know, it's not a great morale booster to suddenly break down in front of everybody, and so hopefully, you know, you can just get through it and carry on.
If you have an enemy in your sights, I mean, is there any hesitation about pulling the trigger?
Well, there can't be, can there, really? I mean, there hasn't. There mustn't be. Because basically, it comes down to it, it's probably you or him. And hopefully it's him each time, so you can't hesitate, really.
What do you think this has done to you as men? I mean, we're talking about going later into civilian life. Can you ever get rid of that attitude, or will you take it with you to your own graves?
I don't think it's something that you want to be particularly ashamed of. If you consider death as being something that... death, admittedly, is a very sad affair, and I don't decry that at all. But if you take death very badly and you become very emotional about it, that's no way to carry on life. People die all the time. You've got to carry on with life as it comes. And I think it can only be an advantage to realise that.
What we're really saying is that you are trained killers in the defence of your country.
That's a very dramatic way of putting it.
But is it correct?
I think, yes. If you're saying that as a direct question, yes, it is. But I don't think anyone actually physically thinks, you know, he wakes up in the morning and says, you know, let's go out and kill someone. You have to do it as part of your job, and if you hesitate, if it is part of your job, then you're not fulfilling your role as a good soldier. And you will not be a good soldier, and as you won't be a good soldier, you'll probably end up dead yourself. That's what it boils down to.
To minimise that risk, camouflage and concealment are as vital as marksmanship. In this exercise, they're given 2 minutes to scatter, blend into the landscape, yet still establish a vantage point from which to fire 2 blanks at their examiners from a range of 200 metres.
Observe now. Cheers, bro.
The observer's role is simply to spot the snipers. The rules are unconditional. Exposing a square inch of anything, uniform, skin or rifle, means failure.
Roger. Where Tony is now is about 190 metres, all right?
There are 13 men out there somewhere.
Just follow that path down that you've just taken up there, Paul. Down to fire shot.
Although the gun smoke exposes the sniper's whereabouts, the observers have positively to see him. If they still can't, they call up a marker, a sort of human gun dog, to close in and place a hand directly on the sniper's head.
Hand on head.
You may think this must be the ultimate giveaway, but no. To pass, the sniper must remain invisible to the observers.
Roger, I can't see nothing. Do you reckon he can see me?
Yeah, he's got you dead to rights, I think, John.
He is learning a lesson of life and death.
No, that was a good position there. What's his name? Corbett Deck's pass. Any more snipers about?
Go back to your right again and step back 2 paces.
I'd say I'm about 180 metres to 200 metres away here, which is just right. I can just about see the observers, although it's a bit misty. Sounds like Para's just running by. Somebody's just been pinged.
Craig. Corporal Craig, Tony. Did you get that? Yeah, what you can see, all right, you've created a big black hole here by putting yourself in there. All right, if you look behind you, you've got a lot of shadow. Right, actually in there, you'd have been a lot better in there, into the shadow. But what you've got is you've got a big green bush, and then you've got brown here in the middle. Yeah, so you've got to really think about your surrounding area. Okay.
Blend in with that bit there, you see.
Yeah. Well, ideally you want to be forward of it then, so that that's your background. Okay.
Right, yeah.
Okay. If you stand up then and just move over to the left-hand side there. Okay. Any more snipers about?
At the moment, I've got a shot just over the right shoulder of young George, who's about 5 metres in front of me. He's about to fire his shot. There he goes. This is a dodgy time for me because they're looking straight at me as well as him. So I'll keep very still.
Down to fire.
Okay, not too bad. Not too much smoke.
Don't worry about that, he won't give you away for your smoke, all right?
No, I can't see nothing, Tony.
I'm going down, 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 down. And on sniper's head now. Okay, can you make a move then, Tony, please?
He's moving his hand up and down.
Yeah, okay, that's good enough. Okay, Tone. What's your name, please?
Lieutenant Smith.
That's Lieutenant Smith past, Tony.
Horse, stand on. Hey! Stand easy, listen in. What kept most people away yesterday was straight edges on your hat, causing the shadow. Darker than the area you're working in, but it's all light bracken.
The main criticism of this fine body of Royal Marines and the subsequent debriefing was that some of them looked too smart. What was it that gave them away?
Okay, so I'm off to you. Straight edges. Alright, that's what give you away. Most people yesterday get caught out. Same again, straight edges. Alright. Don't get your weapons now. And in the wagon, by 5 to 9, everybody's seated, ready to go. Anybody got any problems before we set off from camp?
For their next devious operation, they're required to stalk 1 mile along a riverbed to positions from which they could assassinate their instructors without a lot of fuss.
Come 5 o'clock at the house, you've got that gap with prominent green, light green.
Seen?
Yeah, I think they're using that as a gateway across.
Roger. There's a bit of a dead ground there as well.
Yeah, they're not using the dead ground, they're actually just crawling. And also by the back of them trees, they're moving up in them trees, I'm sure they are.
To some, the assassination proposition is becoming increasingly appealing. Though the problem this time is that they don't know where the observers are. They could actually stumble over them.
There seems to be a group breaking away to the right, look.
This is another exercise which carries a large number of brownie points. To fail at this is to jeopardize one's whole future with the Cadre. And Russ Craig hasn't excelled so far.
Right, go left. Left.
Determined to pass this one because I failed at everything this morning and yesterday. All I can and concealment, so this is the only chance I've got to redeem myself.
Now this is looking good. Nice stream.
Yeah, I think there's someone just...
Yeah, that's it. Let's get Ray onto it.
Okay, I'll just walk round, Johnny, because it's all dead swampy here, okay? Still you are, don't move, you haven't got you.
Ostensibly, Craig has every reason to reckon he could out-ambush Baden-Powell. He's within 40 metres of his prospective victims and quite undetected.
What's his name? Corporal Craig, right. Tell him to stand up. He's failed.
He's failed not because he was seen, but because he's taken an unnecessary risk in getting too close to his target. Craig is so knocked by this that he blazes off his second shot at the passing fish.
How many more we got, Matt?
One.
One to go?
Yeah.
What time we got left, Tony?
5 minutes.
5 minutes? Roger. Let's have a quick scan then.
Now I'm going to ease my rifle into a firing position. I've got a good view of them. I've got a nice backdrop. And hopefully you should get away with this. Nice and steady.
Roger, I can't see nothing. The camouflage looks pretty good. He's got a good background. Just check his sights. And pass, stand up, make his way to transport.
Okay, sir. Well done.
Okay, right.
Just make your way around the back and back up to transport.
Now I think you all agree that the aim was to get you through all your little bits and pieces like judging distance, observation, cam concealment, and the final aim was going to be getting you through a stalk. Now we got nearly 50% off you through the stalk, so over a period of 2 days, that wasn't bad. Corporal Craig screwed it up. All right, he done well, he got to within the 40 metres, in fact he scared the shit out of me. All right, that was good, getting up to 40 metres. You were too close, because you've got to think of an escape route. I thought you were going to do a bayonet charge to throw a rock at me. All right? So what you should have done was retreat it to a safe distance. Remember, all you had to do was to get anywhere within 200 metres. And why shoot somebody at 40 metres when you can shoot them safely at 200 metres? I think if you'd have fired, what you'd have probably done if you'd have missed, is get up and run like the clappers. Fine, all right, so point taken. And you screwed it up by losing your temper, firing a shot in the river, all right? Don't do that again. Point taken. Don't need to tell you anymore. NCO shouldn't do that.
Well, what it was, you see, I was doing the camouflage concealment and I kept getting pinged and I couldn't understand why. And they was using the same old excuse, or they nicknamed me the Pink Crash Helmet because of my receding hairline. No, I mean, fair enough, but I couldn't understand why I kept getting pinged because I was digging out blind. And everyone else around me wasn't getting seen, and I was, and I just couldn't understand it. It was starting to get to me after a while. And then when we done that final stalk from Cadre Bridge, I went the muckiest, the muddiest, the most horrible route, and the most difficult route I could find to really dig out blind and prove that I could do something. I know I did. I ended up getting so close, I'd have been better off using a bayonet on him, because I got that close. And consequently, I'd run out of time anyway. And that's when I fired my shot off. Obviously, I'd failed because I was only about, I don't know, 22 metres away, something you paced it out, 22 paces or something. And that's why when I was walking away, I had a bit of a bazzy on, lost my temper a bit. Anyway, I got in trouble for that anyway. Discipline problem. I've already had my wrist slapped for that. But I forgot about it now. It was just taken the wrong way at the time. And that's life.
The way it's going, Corporal Craig's ambitions appear to be scattering on the winds. However, there are always fresh challenges. Abseiling down into trees is not a recommended sport, if for no other reason than that it's governed by one infallible rule. If a sudden emergency threatens a helicopter, then the rope is cut, even in training. Another skill to be learned is the accurate calling down of artillery fire.
Hello, Golf 1-1, this is 2-3 Bravo, fire mission over.
Golf 3-1, fire mission.
2-3 Bravo, grid 451809, direction 3350, enemy patrol in building, neutralise now for 2 minutes. Over.
Golf 3-1, grid 451809, direction 3350.
Two 3 Bravo. Hello, Golf 1-1, Golf 3-1. This is 2-3 Bravo on target. Out.
Stop, we're going to split. Come on, stand up. Up. Help him up. He can't get up. Okay, help him to his feet. You've got to keep your eyes tight. Do not resist. Stand up. Okay, moving forward. Get those arm locks on. Get them up. Stop resisting. Okay, back down. You want small plane. Okay, you don't have to put him to the ground if you can immobilise him. He's only a small lad. Get those arm locks on. Get hold of him. Control the head. Up. Here, hold up. Good. Okay. Guide the rear. Stay out there.
There are some acts of evasion which make sheer common sense,
Okay, that was a better one. Did put him on the ground. No need to.
and the viewer should remember that there are certain aspects of the training of a Special Forces fighter which are strictly not for domestic application.
Looking at the throw, then we can attack it from 2 points. We can be hitting it down if we get the opportunity, or hit it up. We've got the Adam's apple. We've also got all the breathing apparatus around here. If you smash that in there, you're going to have problems. Go down. Oh, lay on your back, you may have knocked him out, blown him to the ground for a split second, but you want to finish him out. You've got no great weapons. Instead of just kicking him to the side or whatever, a good heel straight into the solar plexus can really do the job. Okay, stand up. Anybody got any particular points they want to bring out about this area here? No? Well, it's similar to the mouth I talked about earlier on. It's not only the pain that it inflicts, it'll also be the fear. Coming along like, if you've got hold of somebody here, you say, move! He wants to move, because he wants to go everywhere his balls go.
Unarmed combat, the weapon of the silent attack. And that's what you'll be seeing in next week's programme during a night assault on a radar station. It involves a climb that would probably make Chris Bonington think twice.